Alright, so I had a viewer request. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. Family was sick, and that was a long 3 weeks. I was going to make a video, and then everybody got sick, and that was a long, like I said, a long 3 weeks. But there was more. I was going to make a video even, before that too, but other things came up. But you know me, I don't regularly have an upload schedule, but anyway, it's to the video that you're seeing right now. So this is the Nintendo Wii with a GameCube game. I had a viewer request ask me if I could hook up the Hyperkin for the Wii into the mClassic and then into the scanline generator, because if you have one of those, then you can add scan lines, because other than that, you'll need another device of sorts to do it. Or if you have a GameCube and you have the Carby, I don't know about Carby, but I know the Elon does. I imagine Carby does too. You could add scan lines through those, but this is the Wii playing a GameCube game. They didn't say specifically whether to play a Wii game or a GameCube, but the video they referred to, was showing GameCube games, and it was showing, what the mClassic can do. And so, one issue that I had was my Hyperkin does not work properly for some reason. I was getting a signal, and then suddenly I wasn't. So, I don't know what's wrong with it. I tried different video output settings, etc., different HDMI cables. Now it has a built-in HDMI cable, so you just plug it into the Wii. It only outputs a maximum of 480p, which is nice, so it doesn't do any scaling. And if you use the mClassic, you can get 1080p out of it, because the mClassic would do the scaling for you. And if you go from the mClassic into the scanline generator, you could then add scan lines, and if you're not forcing like 480p or something on GameCube games, scan lines would be nice addition to your video quality, because it's going to hide some of that interlacing. So for some reason, like I said, it wouldn't work properly. It was at first. And then I went to go change some video settings, and then I just got a black screen. I restarted my Wii several times, and it would not come up. So I plugged in my component cables, and the video came right up. So what I had to do was, I cannot use the Hyperkin. I plugged in my component into my retrotink. Now, one issue with my retrotink is I cannot output in 480p. I don't know if it's my other external devices that I'm using, or if it's my TV that doesn't like 480p, but I always get a black screen. So what I did was I set it to 720p. I set my Wii to 480p, 4:3 aspect ratio, and then I loaded up a GameCube game. I used Swiss, and I forced interlacing, so I'm not getting progressive scan. So I got a 480i signal going into the retrotink, which outputs at 720p. Then I'm using the mClassic, which gives me 1080p. And then from there, I have the scanline generator, which is currently off. I'm just trying to explain all of this right now. And so for the viewer that requested this, I do want to say one thing. If you do get a Hyperkin and it does work for you, which mine apparently isn't anymore, with the mClassic, for some reason, it blows out some of the colors. And part of that reason has to do with the color range. It's not matching the color range. Now, My retrotink wasn't matching that color range either, but I found a very simple workaround. Now, I want to before I stumble on my words here, I want to add that my retrotink settings are default, so I'm not adding additional sharpening or brightening or gamma or anything like that. It's only 720p with a 480i, so 480 interlaced signal, because this game is native 480i on GameCube, although you can force 480p. They just didn't write it into the coding, so you got to use like Swiss to force it. And you can do that on GameCube as well. So I wanted to add all that, but what I had to do, here, let me pop up the screen real quick. So post-processing, I had to come here, and you see where it says color boost? If I put it on 0, the screen looks fine. But when I go into the game, the timer counter on the upper left that shows the time, and the reason I'm showing Crazy Taxi is because it is a bright, colorful game, so you kind of get an idea of what this whole setup with scan lines and everything would be had I used the Hyperkin. So what I had to do to fix that was go -1. For some reason, that fixed it. And let me put it on 0, and let me show you real quick. So I'm just going to go to Arcade, Play by Arcade Rules. I'm just going to get into it real quick, right? So look at the timer. I don't know if it's going to show up on capture like that, but you see how the timer is? Now, when I go to post-processing and I go to color boost and I go to -1, see the color change? It has to do with the color range not matching up, not aligning. And I was having that issue initially with the Hyperkin. So you may have that issue if you have the Hyperkin. I don't know how the newer models, if there is a newer model, but you may run into that. I didn't really notice it on like the other games so much, but this is a colorful game, so maybe another game that has like vibrant color, say maybe with the Mario, you know the name of the Mario. My mind's blank. I have not recorded a video in a while, but it's the Mario Sunshine, that one. So the yellows will probably be blown out on there. So that was my workaround to fix it. I know this is a long explanation, but I've been spending a little hour and a half on this already, trying to figure out what was going on. And so this fixed it. So now I'm at 720p with a 480i signal. I'm going to turn on the scan lines, and then we're going to get into the game first. And I'm just going to go for 10 minutes because I'm going to mess around with the scan lines. Let's go with Gina. I got the audio on low because of copyright with the music. So just so you know. So you can see the signal is interlaced. If you noticed it whenever it said "here we go," those lines. The mClassic is on. I'm just confirming that right now. So as you can see, here it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my scan line generator. And we're going to start adding scan lines. Now, I like the way this looks already. Now, the RGB dials, they're already all the way up. If I default them down, this is what it looks like. This is the RGB dials all the way down. So your scan lines get darker. But it gives you more of a CRT look. Now, there isn't vertical scan lines with this scan line generator. So let's go. Let's just do some driving, because once I get my my boost, you can usually see the interlacing on like Gina's hair when her head moves back and forth. It's not. I can still see it, but it's not as noticeable with these scan lines. Now, let me see if I can. You can adjust the scan line. There we go. There's up and lower. So it was on up, so I'm gonna lower it down because if you look at the bottom right where the gears are, right? So when I go up, the top of it's a little bit blurry. This really only applies to like text and stuff like that on screen. So I'm gonna keep it up because that makes it sharper, and then we're gonna go and pick up this customer. And then we'll kind of mess around with the scan lines. But overall, just note that with the scan lines, your image is going to be darker. But just as this is right now, if you want that CRT look, it's actually pretty good. It's a little bit on the dark side for me. It's not terrible. I'm actually using a GameCube controller, just for authenticity, you know. Shouldn't go through there. It's always a trap. So yeah, the interlacing, I still see it, but it is like mostly not noticeable. Because most of the time I only notice it on like the player when I'm giving my boost and their head is rocking back and forth. And so that's when I really notice the interlacing. Okay, so now I'm gonna do some adjustments to these scan lines here. So this is the finest scan line. Now, they're not bad. But depending on your TV, you might notice, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a group of small scan lines, and then a group of small scan lines, and then a group of small scan lines, you know. That's how it looks. When you're playing, you can't really notice it, but when you look on screen and you're looking at like the sky or something, I see it like when I'm moving a little bit. I saw the interlacing at the helicopter. See that? That's the interlacing. So let's see if the helicopter stays there. See how much I can mess with the scan lines to reduce the interlacing. This is the heaviest scan line. Now again, the RGB dials, it's the darkest. And then here's the next one. And then here's the ones that I like. And then here's the finest, here we are, finest ones right here. So you can see the helicopter, how it's interlaced. You can reduce it by giving the heavier scan line. You know, I kind of like, this one is not too bad, but what I would do is I would brighten it and then kind of get into the color range that I want. This is the GameCube version, so technically, if you want more accuracy, it's on the warmer tone, whereas the Dreamcast is on the cooler side like this. You know, so depending on how the color accuracy you prefer. And so I'll pick up one customer again. Let's go pick up this guy because he's going the other way. You're going to get a better image if you force 480p, but the reason I'm not doing it is because if you have the Hyperkin, you know, and you're using the Wii, you have to have Swiss, so you got to have Swiss on the GameCube memory cards, and then go through the settings, you know, and your hack and whatever, and load Swiss and then force progressive mode. As the viewer who requested, I don't know if they're able to do that, so I'm just trying to get us close to more of reality of what somebody's going to do, you know. So I'll go ahead and stop this and get into another game, because I believe I'm not going to be able to stop it without editing. My device may cut off. Well, I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna have to leave. I'm gonna have to power off because I can't reset, and I'm gonna go into a different game here. So we'll try. It's gonna turn off. It's because I I still have a signal, so hopefully. Okay, so we're going to go here again. What I need to do is there's a reset combination file that you can put on the memory card so you don't have to restart. Because I'm loading these games. I don't know what happened with the Hyperkin, but when I was loading the games, I was loading them from disk. So initially I was like, well, maybe my disk don't work. So I tried an official game. It wasn't working. I tried a burn game because my Wii is hacked to play those two. That wasn't working. Tried different loading methods. Wasn't working. This is me going through the exploit right now. I use the Splinter Cell. Takes a little bit longer than some of the other games, but it's not the worst. And then you can go to games, and then I'll go to Gauntlet because this is one of my favorite games. And you can see it's 480i. That's what you want. Well, you want progressive, but I'm assuming that anybody who watches this video, a lot of people aren't going to be able to force progressive mode. Because that would be one reason why you want scan lines. You can hide it. You can give it a CRT look, and most CRTs were not progressive, so they were interlaced. This is my game save. I was playing on GameCube. I wasn't recording it, but the image looks kind of dark. Let's get into a stage here. Or even we could even try right here before I get into the stage. So these were the scan lines right here that I prefer. These are my preference. So we'll go ahead and check out this game. This one I could up the volume. I don't think it would matter, but this one doesn't have the copyrighted. And then I'm gonna up my RGB dials so I can get my brightness setting in there. The scan lines are hardly noticeable. The screen is a little bit brighter, but we want some scan lines. So let's go with those aren't as noticeable. Yeah, these are the ones I was at. So let me darken it back up. Let me see. It's kind of a warm tone. I don't like that greenish. So we'll go into it about right here. So this one I got the red dial all the way up. Yeah, I got the red dial all the way up, and the other ones are just a little bit. Now this may not be your preferred scan line favorite. I already got all these crystals. I've already been pretty far in the game. But what I like about the retrotink, because like the way it looks right now, this is how the Hyperkin was doing for me. It was a dark image, Of course, you can brighten it with your TV if you want to, or if you have an external device. But a lot of those third-party, like Hyperkin, Pound, any other of those kind of generic adapters, HDMI adapters, Wii to HDMI, unless you get the one by Electron Sheppard, Wii to HDMI. I don't have that one because I don't need it. But that one's going to be a legit one. It costs about $40, I believe. So spend a little bit more money if you want quality and you need HDMI. Oh, I already got my food up. But right here the image is a little bit dark. So let me. So if I turn off the scan lines, you can see the difference. See how the scan line it darkens the image. And then there's a glitch in this device where you might have to flick it a couple times off and on because you go like this and then you go and it looks darker, so you have to go back up. See, it looks dark. Now you have scan lines on, it looks dark again. See, now you turn it off and it's brighter. So that's the only negative about this device. So I used my my spell or magic over there and it killed everything in a huge distance. Now I want to say though, this is very playable, but you might have to brighten it on your TV for a dark game like this. I'll go into Mario Sunshine, and then I'll go into Luigi's Mansion, just so you can kind of get an idea with darker games, because you know, see right here, like I can't see crap over here in this corner. It'll just look blown out black. But if I go into my retrotink settings, I can brighten up the gamma, and it makes it amazing. But again, I don't want to do that because this is not going to be as accurate to the Hyperkin. I do that for. My character's already like super strong, so normally starts with like 600. You're like level 1 and your health is like 600. See, watch, I already got this. But you see how dark it is back here? So again, that's what's going to happen with the Hyperkin, and that's with the scan lines off. So you look at it with them on, and these are the ones that I like. It's just all blown out back here. So if you switch to other ones, here, that's the thin one. Let's go to a heavier scan line like that, because this one's moderate. It's not super thin, and it's not the thickest one. So this one's actually decent as well. You know, it just depends on the game that you're playing. But you have to remember, the scan lines do darken the image. It does help hide that interlacing. So let's quit that and then see if I can reset. Hopefully this doesn't stop my capture, because like I said, I gotta turn off my Wii. Okay, so this is the medium scan lines, as I like to say, but the RGB is still adjusted. So if I want to default it back all the way to dark, that kind of gives you the idea right there. That's like heavy scan line, you know, heavy CRT. But back in the day, those heavy CRTs, scan lines, the image, the backlight helped with that, so the image wasn't as dark. Let's see if I can edit all this stuff out. I could hold B because this is a progressive scan game, but I'm not going to, since I'm forcing 480i. I don't want to force progressive scan here and then force 480i afterward. But it seems like my Wii is actually reading the disc that it was the Hyperkin giving me the issue, because the Splinter Cell is an actual game. Although, I could burn it. So I can keep this one in my GameCube and then use this one in my Wii. Yeah, see, look, here's text on screen. This is a good idea for me to shift. So you can see right here how the words last save and load game. Yeah, so you can shift the scan lines depending on the game you're dealing with here. So you can even see it here, how it shifts. Maybe it's hard to see with the thicker scan line, but see how apps is blurry, games is a little bit blurry, and then it's like a little bit more clearer. That helps hide your interlacing. Let's go to games, and then we'll go to let's go to Luigi's Mansion. Do I have Mario Sunshine? I don't have Mario Sunshine on here, so I guess we'll end up doing Mario Kart. I haven't played these games, so there's no save file, so it's just going to start from the beginning. Because Crazy Taxi and Gauntlet are my favorite games, and The Simpsons, I wanted to get into Road Rage. Press start, new game. So here we are. Do you like fine scan lines? Do you like thicker scan lines? Or do you like heavy, medium scan lines? I don't like the heaviest ones. That's the heaviest ones right here. You go to medium, then you go to super fine, then you go to regular. So I'm just going to skip that and get into the game a little bit. Because this is a dark game, you know, so are like Resident Evils. So those are games that the mClassic is kind of going to mess with the coloring and stuff. So I think, honestly, for being 480i, this actually looks really good. It's kind of surprising to me. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. I thought Gauntlet looked pretty good, you know? But, yeah, this... And let me switch the scan lines here. I don't like those heavy ones. Here's the medium scan lines, if that's your thing, you know? I know there's a room you gotta go into, but I'm gonna brighten the RGB here. Let's brighten it all the way up, all three of them. So your scan lines, here's the ones that I like, and then it's all your RGB dials on the device are brightened all the way up. So your scan lines are hardly noticeable. I can see them on screen. I don't know how they show up in the recording, but they do show up. You just, you know, with the brightness all the way up on the dials. So let me adjust it. Darken them a little bit to keep them up. And so, there we go. Let's see if he won't stay up there. I want his flashlight to be facing like the wall so you can kind of see the scan lines. How they are. So I'm going to darken it all the way. See, here's the darkest. I actually think for this game, maybe leaving the RGB dials on all the way dark and leaving them on about this level of scan line looks pretty good. Look at his flashlight. You can kind of see if he would stay still. You can see the scan line thickness, and then I can switch them out. See, like that, it's super heavy. And then here's the medium ones. But you can mess with like the medium ones and then brighten your RGB dials. And then it's not as heavy. They're heavy scan lines, but they're not as dark. So if you like that, you know, you can do that. So that should kind of give you an idea. Alright. So I'm going to default it back to this is my default scan line. So now we're going to power off again, because that's what I have to do. And then we're going to Mario Kart Double Dash. And to be honest, I haven't played that one either. Well, not on this memory card. Okay, good. I didn't accidentally force progressive scan. And for some reason, when I do use progressive scan, the image isn't as it's straight on the screen. It's kind of offset a little bit, like top to bottom. It goes where it says palm. The top of the circle touches the top of the screen whenever I set it to progressive for some reason. I don't know if it's my devices or my TV, you know. I don't know. I even switched it from fill to 16:9 and, you know. So let's go into, Mario Kart. Forcing 480i. I may go back into like Crazy Taxi and show you what it looks like forcing 480p. See if I can get past all this. No, I'm not gonna create one. So we're just gonna start game. One player. I go to time trials just so I can leave it as, so I don't have to worry about I'm not good at this game at all. I've played it here and there, but okay. See, I know how to drift, but you know, I'm not very good at it. So we're gonna go and change around, mess around with the scan lines here in a bit. I'm just gonna do a lap. Worst lap ever, right? Look at that lap record. Amazing. So here's your heaviest ones, which look terrible in my opinion. Here's the medium ones. If you adjust the RGB dials, don't look too bad, you know, makes them more subtle. I'll default it back. And if I switch, these are the super fine scan lines, and if you mess with the dials, they're basically going to disappear. You'll be able to see them, but it's like maybe 5 or 10% there if you up the RGB all the way up on all three of them. So this is all the way down, so this is basically the finest scan lines with the darkest RGB, no adjustment. If you like the, you know, different tones, cool tones, you can, you know, do that as well, make it warmer tone and still have the fine scan lines. But these are the ones that I like, and then I would adjust it a little bit, and then I'd probably go about like that. And the game is interlaced. It's not too bad. I'm going to go into Crazy Taxi in a little bit so you can, I'm going to force progressive. This way you can see what it looks like, if you're able to do that. So hopefully you kind of get an idea. You know, I don't want to spend all day on, you know, that. Then my Wii's going to restart because it's going to turn off, and I'm going to turn it back on. Like I said, the recording's still going, so hopefully it didn't stop, because hopefully it's got a signal from the okay, so now I'm going to hold B. Oh, I didn't do it. It doesn't matter. I can force it in Swiss. Guess I didn't push in a hold B. I was pushing it trying to get past that green screen. Alright, so let's go into settings, 480p. I keep it on 1:1. That gives the 4:3 aspect ratio. So save and exit. That's all I need to do. Get back up to games. Crazy Taxi. See how 480p already looks better? So much clearer that looks. But the video is probably gonna offset a little bit, but we'll see. No, it actually looks pretty good. It didn't offset too much. Maybe that was just the issue with my Hyperkin that apparently doesn't work now. Which, there goes 30 or 40 bucks, whatever that costs. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. It didn't offset, I mean it did, but barely anything. Okay, let's wait for 10 minutes. Yeah, see, it did shift a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe, I mean, I can fix part of that with my TV by changing the picture size. So as you can see, the image is a little bit better. You can tell whenever I'm driving. You can see like BD Joe is with his head shaking. It's not giving the interlaced lines, which you could barely see with the scan lines anyway. But let's switch these scan lines around. So here's the fine ones. You can adjust, maybe make it warm tone, make it a little bit brighter. Can't hardly see them, right? Let's go to the other ones that I like. These scan lines are a little bit heavier. No, I can't see. And then here's the heavier scan lines and the medium ones, which this is darkest RGB. Well, you might want to adjust it and mess around. Something like that, just as a quick. But anyway, I hope I tested out enough games. I didn't, test out any Wii games because the video that I was doing over there on the one referenced was, I was using GameCube games on that, and so the Wii is backwards compatible with GameCube. Unless you have a family edition, then you got to mod it to make the backwards compatibility. You could run, Nintendo, or you could run Swiss and get you the memory card with the SD card on it, and you can put your games on there that way. That's how I'm running them currently right now. They're on the memory card. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helped you out and this is what you're looking for. Although I couldn't use the Hyperkin, hopefully this is enough to kind of give you an idea of what the Hyperkin would do with the mClassic. But this is probably what's going to happen for you is this. Your color is going to be blown out on some of it, So like my numbers up there, they're blown out. Maybe it won't show up in the recording, Maybe it's just my TV having incompatibility with it, and I don't know that, but watch, let's mess with it a little bit more just so you can get an idea. So I'm going to change that color boost. We'll do some gamma adjustment. do some sharpening. It's on sharp by default, so let's see here. Turn that to off. Triple buffer. Why did I change that for? I didn't mean to do that. I want to go there. Color space, RGB full. See, if you go to RGB limited, maybe that fixes it. I didn't know that was on here. So let's go to color boost. Yep, it does fix it. 10, 11. Yeah. If you go to RGB limited, that fixes it for the retrotink. So you're probably still going to have the issue with the Hyperkin. Just want to let you know. But hopefully this kind of gives you an idea. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend maybe the Electron Sheppard Wii 2 HDMI version, not the cheap one. And then use the mClassic from there. I don't know if that's going to mess with the scan lines and the color, the RGB color or not, but it might. But anyway, hopefully this was enough to kind of help you out. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.